Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and wanted to review this film because this is a film I grew up with, and I did review this film a long time ago, but unfortunately, once again, was afraid of copyright. And I want to give a good shout out to Jason versus the 13th, 1983. He made a great music video of both The Unnamable and its sequel, The Unnamable 2, using the song from the end of this film called Up There. Up There. I don't put the link to that, so if you guys want to see footage from this film, go down below and check out his video. Unfortunately, he actually put links to my old reviews, but because they're no longer up, do apologize for that, Jason. But I wanted to give him a shout because I guess he found this because of my reviews, and I thought he did a really great job with that. Now, this is a DVD-R because The Unnamable for some reason has never been released on DVD in the U.S. I'm guessing it was released overseas because I think Jason has, I don't know if he has a DVD or a download or something, but it was very expensive to try to buy overseas. So it says it was weird. No, never mind. That's the sequel. Whoops. I don't say. Yeah, this, for some reason, the sequel you can buy on DVD in the US, but not the first one. That's a new one on me. Wearing shorts because it's a little hot outside. But The Unnamable, H.P. Lovecraft's The Unnamable, this is a film I grew up with ever since I was a kid. I actually didn't know there was a sequel till years later. But The Unnamable is a very, it's written, produced, and directed by Jean Paul Oullette, which I don't know what this guy has actually done since then. But he actually did both films. It says that he was a second unit director on The Terminator? Maybe. If so, that's the cool. Second unit director. But I know this was released in R-rated and unrated formats, and I don't know if, I guess this is the unrated version. Again, Scream Factory, Shout Factory, get this one. The film is pretty simple premise. I mean, takes place, the first couple minutes takes place long ago at the Winthrop house. And you have this guy named Joshua Winthrop who has this creature that is sort of hidden away in his house. And you find out that the creature is actually his daughter, who, for somehow, some way, which you actually find out more in the sequel, which is pretty cool. But in this film, we didn't really need a big explanation. You just knew that it was his daughter, and that you know, she's deformed, obviously, and something has happened. But he keeps her kind of like in the attic, and you know, there's a big door that he puts like locks and stuff on. And one day, you know, he's trying to calm her down, and he gets his heart ripped out. And this film can be pretty gory too. And then this years later, and the character Randolph Carter, played by this actor Mark Kinsey Stephenson, who is this actor right there, as Randolph Carter, he has a friend. He's telling the story that we saw in the credits to two of his friends. Now, again, our two main leads are Randolph Carter, played by Mark Kinsey Stephenson, and then the other guy, who I would say he's really the main guy, Howard, played by Charles Keene, which I guess now he's changed his name to Charles Klausmeyer. Maybe that was always his real name. And it's where Charles, I'm just going to call him Charles Keene, because that's how he's said in this movie. I swear to God, if someone told me this guy was related to Stephen King, I'd believe it. Just like, okay, if Stephen King had dark hair and no glasses and he was younger, I could see like this guy's related to Stephen King. Like, oh, that's Stephen King's brother. I'm like, I can see that. I know. And not just because his last name is King. But he plays the lead guy, Howard. And then you have a third guy, their friend Joel. And Joel doesn't buy the story. And Mark Kinsey Stephenson is Randolph. He does. He believes in this stuff. He's a little bit of a scholar. His works have been published. They go to Miskatonic University. And the characters, I like the two main characters of Howard, Charles Keene, and Randolph Carter, because it's not so stupid, but it gives me like William Ragsdale, Roddy McDowall vibe from Fright Night. Which Randolph Carter isn't as old as Ryan McDowall was. I mean, Kinsey Stephenson. But their relationship kind of, for some reason, reminds me a little bit of that. Maybe because Kinsey Stephenson is kind of more of an English guy. Not an older guy, but I don't know. It's weird because the character is not like Roddy McDowall's character. But for some reason, it has that same... I think because they just make a good team. Like Charles Klosmer, the lead guy, he's much more earnest, uh, sort of innocent, just curious as to what's going on. While Kinsey Stephenson, he's much more like confident, not quite egotistical, but uh, he seems to know what he's talking about. And I don't know why, I just like these two guys, and they actually carry over in this film, which I enjoyed, and I like them. I don't know how else to explain it unless you see the film. I really enjoy these two guys. And their third guy, Joel, he doesn't believe it, and the same house is actually right behind them where they're telling the story. And the friend Joel says, "I'm going to stay in there. You guys don't come." And I like Kinsey Stevens, and he's like, "No, I'm not going in there. I'm not going to, risk that." Like, he's willing to believe it, which is like, good one. So their buddy Joel decides to go in, and he gets his ass killed. And basically, the rest of the film is you have these four people, two guys and two girls. One that the lead guy Howard kind of has a crush on, but she doesn't want anything to do with him because the girl's a bitch. And then the other girl is actually the girl who Howard and then will fall in love with. These two douches and the two girls, like two douches are like, "Hey, we're going to do a fraternity, and if you want to pledge, one of the things initiation, you guys stay at this house," but they want to get in their pants. And basically, I keep wanting to say it's a haunted house movie, but it's not a haunted house. It's not haunted, but it plays off like that, like those old school, bunch of people in a dark, creepy house, and they hear strange things, and they're wondering what's going on, they're wondering where their friends are, they want to look for their friends, and in fact, then Howard, our lead, Charles Keene, he realizes their friend hasn't come back, and I like the scene where he actually goes to Randall Carr, it's like, "Listen, whether he's playing a joke or not, I don't care right now. I want to see if he's okay. So either you're going to come with me or not." And Randolph's like, "Okay." So I like that. I mean, I like these two characters, and then they go off. And basically, people get picked off one by one in very gory ways. I like this film because I actually think it's at times scary or creepy. I love the lead creature. You only see little bits of, but then you see it full force at the end. I really like the design of the Unnamable. It's a female. And, it's not often you get a female creature of a villain. And it has like these wings. Like, if I think of a demon, this is what I think of. Especially a female demon. She had a little bit of titties, but you don't want to suck them, because she'll rip your heart out and shove it up your ass. And the kills I thought were really just disturbing, but actually it always creeped me out. Like, Charles King finds his friend. I like the way it's shot. I like the way that it's unveiled, where that his friend's hanging upside down, there's blood dripping because his head's been cut off. Just the way it's set up I thought it was creepy. And like you hear this, like this creepy sound, and you see these hooves, and it's actually the creature is like right there. And I don't know, just the way it was done. And I like the score that. I can't do it right. And also, like, one guy like gets his throat ripped out. The creepiest one for me is, it always makes me cringe, is a guy falls to the floor and hits his head, boom. The creature picks him up and just drops him. So when he drops him, his head goes boom again. So think of him, he's like this is his head. He drops him, just and his head smacks the ground. Picks him up, drops him again. Just picks his head up, drops him again. And every time he drops him, more and more of his head like opens up and like more blood. And actually gets to a point where it like grabs the head and goes as if it's like trying to get every blood out of his. It's just, I'm like, oh shit. So I like the setup. It's a simple setup, but it's this. Again, I keep wanting to say haunted house, but it's not haunted. It's a bunch of kids. You know, better lighting that way. It's a bunch of kids. Well, it's those four, and then Howard and Randolph Carter. And Randolph Carter, he sees this book. He realizes that the key to this is this book. He realizes that there's actually a little bit of magic. That he can say some stuff and stuff happens. And he goes into this crypt. Basically to stop this thing. And he actually gets trapped in there. I remember the first time I said, oh, fuck, he's dead. But not the case. So people get picked off one by one. I thought, you know, it was a good location. I liked the directing of the film. I thought, granted, there are some times where you're like, oh god, why are they doing that? Just some stupid decisions some of the people make. But I really like Mark Kinsey Stephenson and Charles Keene. I really like those two. But some of the other kids are like, oh wow, you're doing something stupid. Why are you doing that? You know, don't do that. Don't do that. Seeing the demon, or you know, the Unnamable full force, and like one like rips part of their face off, another hits something, breaks their hand, breaks the creature's hand. And the ending was always confusing me at first, but then I realized, because all of a sudden like you see like trees come out and grab the creature, and you realize, now I'm watching it again, that Randolph Carter, when he went down there, although I do think they could have specified that a little bit, maybe like a few more shots of like him still in there trapped, but he's reading the book, and he's the one who, because he read it, brought this thing, and it's pretty much, I guess, sort of the spirit of her father, Alida, the creature that she killed long ago, the spirit of her father, pretty much grabs her and takes her away. And that's because Randolph Carter read that book. I think they could have specified a little bit more, because then Howard and the girl come out, and then Howard's being dragged down, but then Randolph Carter, not only a skeleton, is trying to grab him, but then Randolph Carter also comes out of the ground and helps Charles Keene, and he's like, it was hell down there, Howard. And they both walk away, and you have that song. I really like that song, too. It's a creepy song. Dum 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 boom, 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 dum 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 dum, bow down, up there, up there. I love this film. I mean, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but you know, few folks stuck in a dark house with a creature stirring around, people picked off one by one. I thought it was well done. I think it gets a low rating on IMDb. I feel that's unjustified. I think now is a film I grew up with. It's a film that at times is really gory. I thought it had a good, has some decent moments of suspense. I really like the lead characters of Randolph Carter and Howard, Mark Kinsey Stephenson and Charles Keene, which actually carry over in the sequel. There's not a lot of explanation as to how this creature came to be, but if you want that, in the sequel they give more of a background, and they actually follow the characters and the actors. So this is a good back-to-back, and I'll probably review this one next. But this is a good back-to-back to watch. I will say I prefer the first one more, because the second one isn't really creepy or scary at all. Like, this one I think has more of a edge on it. Has a certain feeling to it. I don't know how... It's hard to describe what you feel. You know what I mean? And if you don't like it, then that's alright. But I've always enjoyed The Unnamable. I always loved this film. I think it's worth your time. Definitely one of my favorite H.P. Lovecraft inspired flicks. And, you know, Shout Factory, Scream Factory, get this on DVD officially, or Blu-ray or whatever. Interviews, whatever. I would love to see that. I really love this film. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care and stay tuned for a solid sequel, The Unnamable 2. Later.